Howdy folks. Hope everybody's tremendous this Tuesday. Oh god, I'm already losing track of the days. This is what happens when you turn 40. Lose track of the days. Not that I've had them anyway. It's being self-employed. Being self-employed is the single quickest way to completely destroy any semblance of knowing what day it is. I'm on early this morning. I woke up, had a rough couple of days, and I woke up this morning and I thought, I'm full of it. I'm just going to stream now. There's some bits and bobs that I need to do, clean up a couple of models, so we'll do that on stream. And then I've got a little idea for a vase I want to design. And I'm saying a vase, but I think I don't know, it might be a plant at a vase I like. I don't know, I've just got an idea for a shape, but I want to explore that as well. But first things first, there's a couple of models that we did last week that I just want to go into, clean them up a bit because the test prints weren't satisfactory. So we'll have a look at those. But I hope everybody's tremendous. As you can see here, this is that really cool, funky, weird modular clock that we designed last week on stream. And it's gone through quite a few revisions, I can't lie. Had a bit of it, not a nightmare. I've managed it fine, but it turned out to be a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. And it's not in that it's a complicated design. The issues laid in these bottom parts here, which I don't think I've got colours on this now. No, I haven't. But I want these to be able to be printed individually, these bottom sections, so you can have different funky colours to your clock design. Now, my original idea was essentially this here is just the central core of the clock, and they would just glue onto the bottom. And then this top shroud, which is this piece here, which would be transparent and also have a cutout for the clock face, that would sit on top of little tabs, but it wasn't very good. What basically was torquing, there was some little tabs here, and when you press this on, it was torquing these out slightly. And you never really got a very nice, and they didn't really look aligned very well. And I just found it massively triggering that they didn't look nicely aligned. So I've actually gone through a good few iterations of this. Removed the tabs from these so we didn't have that torquing force that when you press the top part down, twisted these. I shouldn't really say it's not that direction, twisted them like this. So that solves part of the problem. But then obviously we still needed to center this, which is going to be a transparent shell which goes over the main clock body. That still had to be centered, so I actually added the tabs. They're not really tabs, but they're like alignment tabs on the main body, which then effectively align this. Because what I wanted, if you were here on the stream last week, is I want a gap. You can see it here, like a gap around the main body of this transparent shell, just to get a little bit of like diffuse color. So my theory is that you would print this central part in one color and then have a transparent shell which would go over the top of it, which is this part, and you get like a little like diffuse color. And it looks pretty good, the sample downstairs. I've not done it in any nice colors because I just don't have them, but I think we're nearly there with this one. And the other thing I did was to really help with these is I actually moved to a full tabbed system for clicking these in. So every one of these little square, what do we want to call them, corners, it was actually inspired by Philips Stark TV, this design that I this 4 quarters thing. Philips Stark design that I saw while streaming in a book that we were looking at. So if you go back into the archives, it's a book where it's a stream, sorry, where we've gone through a MoMA design book, and there was a TV that had 4 quadrants on the back. So I just thought it was a really cool design. So that was kind of what was rattling around in my head when I was designing this. But yeah, so each of these has got these little tabs. And then if we isolate the main body out, each of the body's got these 4 little sockets in the bottom. So actually just snap fit, they don't need gluing anymore. I mean, you maybe could glue them, but yeah, so I think it's quite a nice, it's quite a neat way of solving the problem. I did think it was going to be much easier and it was just going to be a case of gluing the bottom on. And if I'm completely honest, it probably was fine doing that. But found it a bit triggering when I didn't think that things were 100% perfectly aligned. So that was my solution to getting alignment, was to add those tabs in the bottom. But, so this one doesn't really need any work on it today. This one I think is fine. All I actually now have to do is to get my clock kit in it and just test the hand fit and test the body fit for the clock. Now I'm happy with how everything else fits together. I think it's pretty much done. So hopefully I'll get that out this week. It's the one I'm quite keen to get up because I do enjoy doing clocks, which is why I did 2 of them last week. Now, actually I did more than 2. I'm talking complete nonsense. In fact, I haven't printed some of these. I haven't printed 2 of the clocks we designed last week. Let me just save this. And then, so the other clock that I really, really, really liked last week, that we'd, well, late on last week, yeah, was this one, and the test prints were not good. I had a feeling this would be the case, but if you remember last week, what I said was I wanted to print it like this because I want the layer resolution to be this direction, not printing it on its back, so the layer resolution would be in this direction, because the whole point of this clock is it's this really smooth, flowing face. It looks like a bit better without the edges on, actually. And if we printed it in a flat orientation, you would have all the layer lines like this, and it would just look messy. It would destroy the effect that I'm going for. And I had a feeling that this would actually be a little bit problematic, printing it. So I cut this slice off so I could have a flat edge here that you wouldn't actually see when you were looking at the clock on the wall anyway, so it was fine. But it actually, the issue wasn't adhering to the bed. I thought that could be an issue. This thin slice, and it's quite a long, tall, but it wasn't an issue. It was the ribs, which I should have, I don't actually know how I didn't think that at the time when I was designing it, because it's always the same with ribs. If you think about, let me just get rid of the middle so you can see a bit better. So obviously each of these are individual ribs. Now imagine you getting to here, while this whole rib here is just vertically unsupported. So it's not like the print fails, but as the print head moves, this starts to wobble and you just get a really horrible finish. So at first I was thinking, maybe this design's dead in the water, but I really like it. So I spent a bit of time thinking about it. And I think what I want to do is effectively patch in this so it's not see-through. So if we say we get rid of this, so effectively fill this circle in, even if it's only like 2 mil or something like that, just so the whole way up there is support for all of these ribs, and then change the inner part, so this part, sorry, not that part, this part, change this from this big fat insert that goes in to now just the individual ribs, that you'll print the individual ribs out. And each one would then just get stuck into the what now isn't a slot that goes all the way through, would just be a slice. It'll be easy to show you when I'm designing it, but I think I'm just going to save a copy of this. So no ribs test, we'll just call it. You know, great name as always. I'll come back to that next week and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I think the first thing to do will be, first of all, to turn on the edges again, because I actually need them when I'm modeling. And let's get rid of all the others. So actually, in a weird way, actually, is this an idea? Maybe I don't need to do that, because I could just use this clock and then take the slices. You know, that might be a better idea, because this one here was my initial mucking around with this rib design. And then when I wanted to go to this two-tone effect, which I really like as the clock face, you know, as you walk past it on the wall, kind of get this phasing of colour. But I started with this, and then I had the thought, wouldn't it be good if you had something that poked through that was a different colour? Actually, I suppose in a way, all I'm doing is I'm going back to this. Because I'm talking about filling in where all the ribs are. And then, yeah. And then making each of these a separate rib. So I think actually that might be what we do here. So, now if only what angle are we on here? 70.9, right, so let's just push that back so it's straight. Rotate on the X, 70.9 divided by 2. No, so it wasn't 70.9. What am I talking about here? Oh, it's on the vertical I want, not the... So it's 90 minus 70.9, isn't it? Oh, I'll tell you, maybe starting early wasn't a good idea. My brain is absolutely not firing on all cylinders. So let's rotate this on X90 minus 70.9. There we go. Now it's vertical again. And I've just been precise there because I'm going to do some cutting and things, and I don't want cuts to be sitting off axis because it just causes chaos later. Let's get rid of the hands because they're completely irrelevant at the moment. That's just not what we're doing. And I'm actually going to hide this so we've only got the discs here. I'm going to duplicate the one that hasn't had any cutouts done on it. Let's bring that over here to the middle. Now, I think this might just work perfectly because it was essentially the same thing anyway. It was a copy of... Yeah. Perfect. But I think I do want these to come out a little bit further. Not so far that they breach that bottom there. So actually, it might just be as simple as going Boolean this, but I want to keep the tools. Why is that a different color? Oh, it was because it's coloured, wasn't it? That's annoying. Now that one's the only one that's got a colour. Remove material. Excellent. Right, so if we get rid of this, yeah, so that's all our ribs. Now, I have to be realistic though in that it does need, you do need to be able to slot them in. So first things first, we're going to make this flat here because I don't want that cut out. Just hide that. So all of these, which is the remnants of the clock cutout, which I will add back in, but I don't want it now while I'm mucking around with this. I'm actually going to group all these because it is not a big fan of dealing with lots and lots and lots of individual bodies. It can be quite messy very, very quickly. I haven't got my keys on. 2 seconds. I'll put the keys on in a second. So let's just call these inner slices. What the hell does me think? Keyways. Keyways, that's it. G-ways, keyways. Oh, it's not showing up on the stream, but that's fine. Fix that. There we go. Just helps because I forget to mention keys and stuff. Not that I'm doing tutorials, but still it's nice for people to be able to see what keys are being pressed. So I think then what I want to do is I actually want to extend these out a little bit to give us a flat edge that we can, if you imagine, where's the original, where's my clock face? Is this my clock face? No, that's the very, actually get rid of that. That was the very, very first attempt. many weeks ago. This is it. No, not that one. This is it. Let's just name this one main body. Actually, I'm going to give this a colour just so it stands out a little bit from the grey bits on my selecting stuff. So what I want is, if we imagine, as you're looking through here, I think what I would quite like is the slices to have a little extrusion that will help you align them, because currently what would happen is you'd put them in and you'd actually be able to put them at any space in here, and you're then not going to get your alignment right. So if I extend these ribs out backwards a little bit, then you've got a little slot that it can go into, which will mean I can effectively enforce the right alignment top to bottom, which will just help with people when they build it. So the way I'll do that is I'll just get rid of this, and then actually I'm going to hide all these as well, because it's just clutter that we don't need. Now we'll go to face, and that should have only selected those back faces yet. And I'm going to do an extrude, just 3 mil. Do not want to keep the tools. I've just doubled how many bodies I've got there for no good reason. Right, cool. So now if we bring back in that main body and we just look on the section analysis on the side here. Yeah, so this red means there's interfacing going on. So when I do a Boolean, it'll cut away that red area. I'm trying to think if there's a quicker way to do this, but I think we'll just have to rock and roll. So if we pick this, press Q, I do want to keep the tools this time. I don't think that one Boolean did it. So let's just do a little section analysis and just check they actually cut away. So I'm just looking for using little flashes of red where one of the bits didn't Boolean. All good. Yeah, cool. So now we just look at this bit. You won't be able to tell from here, but you've got this extra little slot, so that'll force effectively the slices that go in to be sitting at the right spot. I think what I'll want to do though is add a little bit tolerance because these could be quite hard to push in. And this is what I was saying before, and I was thinking, I wonder if there's a quick way to do this, because I was thinking I'm just going to have to manually click all of these, but it's fine. I mean, when you're talking like 0.5 millimeter, and to be fair, I can then just mirror it. Yeah, so let's just do, actually we'll do 0.5 millimeter, which seems, it's probably quite a lot that actually, but just don't want to be frustrating when you're trying to slip all these little slices in. So, I can actually now, doesn't look like I got these ones. Oh, they've got a little lip on them. It's because the slice was so... This should just go, yeah. because the slice had a big curve at that point. So Alt-X, let's just mirror it down. Join, but don't keep the tools. So that's the top and the bottom with that 0.5 millimeter added. And then mirror it across the other side. Cool. So now let's just bring all these back in. Now if I do a section analysis, yeah. So there's a tolerance here, you can see. Looks bigger at the top for some reason. Maybe I didn't actually mirror it down. It's because that's not actually on the center. So what do I want to do here? Let me think. It's actually the slices, isn't it? It's not the clock. Yeah. And then I actually wanted this slice. Yeah, so if we bring this one down as well. I actually want that slice. I wanted the top and the bottom slices to be slightly proud when I was designing it originally, because it's like the 12 and the 6 marker. Obviously you can't do it on the 3 and the 9 because the strakes are vertical. So yes, that's pretty good. So the only thing I don't like about doing the design this way is, I did prefer the original way, but it wasn't going to work. It's just a lot of pieces. Do you know what I mean? This is a lot of pieces for people to... I mean, admittedly, I've got them duplicated here, so let me just Boolean all these together. Not the main body. This is my pet peeve, by the way, with Plasticity, is that when you do Booleans, it renames them. So you go through all this effort to name bodies, and then as soon as you do any sort of Boolean on them, you've basically lost that name. And it's, I really wish it would just be, because it obviously knows what its default names are. Just wish it would be that if the default names weren't default anymore, i.e. you change them, and you Boolean, it would just take one of them rather than just then defaulting back to solid or sheet. This one's here being a little tricky. Right, so now all these are the ribs. Right, where is this one? Because it just, every time we try and select it in the inspector, it's not actually selecting it. So you are there. So why on earth, when we do this, it's this one. You're in the inner slices, which, to be fair, is where all these are going, so fair enough. But again, that's when I've done a Boolean, it's pulled them out of that group I had. And it's really difficult when you know you should use good like practices when you're organising your file and everything. But to be frank, it's almost pointless, because of stuff like that when you run Booleans. Yeah, so right, let's add the little box in for the clock mechanism to go in. So that's 56.2. I know by 56.2, wonderful having this sort of information rattling around in your head. That I've said this before, well, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I barely know what date it is, but yeah, I can tell you down to the point of a millimeter what the clock mechanism from Bamboo Labs is. Which is it's absolutely useless. Well, it's not useless for me, I suppose. Use it all the time, but. So let's go to right at the edge there, just to get as much depth as we can in the clock mechanism, just to hold it. And then there's a possibility we might have to add fillets on this. So what's that distance there? Yeah, 13. That's going to be too thick. But I don't want to go into the ribbed area. Oh, sorry. Whacking the microphone. Top streamer etiquette. Let me just have a little look on the side view here at this section analysis. Actually, it might be worth, you know, just cutting into these ribs a little bit. So yeah, let's just say we're going all the way through this. And not all the way through. Yeah, because we did that, then we'd be back on the same problem. But let's actually just do it like this. Make a block. So you can just Boolean everything away. So I want to go probably as thin as we can go. So let's just say that. What will that make this here? Yeah, it'll be okay there. So we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of this curve. Q to do a Boolean, but I want to keep the tools because I want to keep that square to do the other ribs. Hide this. So it's going to be these ones. And this one. Q. That. Oh, that hadn't worked. To do them individually, aren't they? Sometimes you can select multiple bodies to do a Boolean, and you have no issue. Like say, for example, if I pick this and then I pick that, that'll now be fine. It's odd. Sometimes it's. I mean, I said it's fine. Yeah, it is fine. So it's done it there. It's just odd. I wonder if I just do 3 at a time or something like that. I tend to find if there's ever any issue. Yeah, see how it's just defaulted back to the first one there. It has done them though. Cool, we'll just do that then. Yeah, I often find if there's any issues with like Boolean commands or anything like that, the answers just do smaller ones. I mean, the Boolean engine in Plasticity is absolutely insane. It's so powerful. But so this one needs doing in these three. Actually, it would just be easier to do this now. Let's just do a square rather than messing on doing these individually. And just hold Control to take it to a point that you want to reference to, and there we go. It hasn't done it. Oh, it has. It's just not coming. Ah, I wonder if that was the issue. So it mustn't be perfectly straight. Interesting. So maybe it was actually doing it and I just couldn't see through the... Doesn't matter. We'll get there in the end. Yeah, so I must have... This is why I like working with single bodies, because sometimes I'll even do stuff like this and I think, oh, I'll maybe just do it now. Sometimes I just do stuff like this where, see what's happening here is I'm having to run all these operations on individual bodies, and it's fine if it works when you're collecting, when you're selecting multiples, but it can just be a bit finicky sometimes. So honestly, sometimes I end up doing stuff like this where it's kind of a bit mad, but I just Boolean together. I'm probably gonna have the same problem here though, aren't I? Not let me. But yeah, I like just make a surface like that to Boolean everything together. So now this is just one bit, so I can run commands on it and then just cut that off later. So grab. See there, I can just select that one thing, and then it's much easier to. It is quite a good tip, but you can only do it in certain instances, because ultimately, if this was off axis, which is part of the reason that I did right at the beginning, spent that time making it straight as I could get it back to on the normal axis. It can be a bit tricky then to like cut apart what you need. But so effectively what we've done there is we've made the pocket for the clock mechanism to go into. Now, all of these in the group I want them in. They are, everyone. So how many is that I've selected? 54. So 50, see, that's the point. I mean, admittedly, they'll all print on one plate and they're very thin, and these can be printed like on their side. Sorry, that's my footrest breaking. So yeah, I think that'll be the best way to do it. So what I'll do today is I'll test print these. And it'll just be 2 plates. It's not going to be like loads. And you could even just print it like that, but then you're not getting the... Just thinking you could select all the bodies and export them as one and just print it as a single model, but it's obviously would be separate parts on the bed. But then you're going to be printing in this direction, which admittedly won't matter having the layers this way as much for these internal ribs. Under no circumstances would I have had them for that main body. This one. Excuse me, phone's ringing. I think it's actually a company trying to get me to sign up for a new office. Been looking at some office space to work and stream from rather than doing it from home. I don't think I'm going to do it. But, well, I've got a number in my head that if I got a specific amount of Patreon subscribers, then it would cover the cost. And I think, oh, right, well. And it's just across the road, so it is really tempting, but I don't want to add any burden. So I think that's probably all I need to do with that. I'll print that one off tonight. This will be about, I think this is about 14 hours this takes the face to print. But yeah, I do really like this design. I think this could be really, really cool. Keep looking at it, just thinking about more ideas of what to do. And I think I do kind of want to do a small version of this same thing for a desk clock. Like, so obviously I don't want to rotate this because I'm going to do some cuts later, but say you had like a foot there that you could slide in, and then it would just be a smaller version for a desk clock, which I think would be really cool. But I'd have to totally redesign it because I can't just shrink this down, because that would mean keeping the same amount of ribs, and I think these are like 2 mil, are they? Yeah, they're about 2 mil. So if you shrank that down, you're then getting down in like 0.7 mil for a rib, it wouldn't be great. So I think the thing to do would probably be to take like one of the other ones. So I think it was this one. Yeah. Take this, shrink it down, and then just run a new set of ribbon operations on it. That would mean we could still have 2 mil thick ribs, but there just wouldn't be as many of them on the face. I think that'll be the answer on how to do a smaller one. So another thing that we'll have a look at, I kind of want to get finished today as well, is I don't know if you saw my YouTube shorts. I did a little test. I'll see actually if I can get it up for you on here. Let me get my browser. YouTube. I'll switch the monitor over once I've actually found it. Shorts. Yeah, so let's put the screen on. So this short here, it's just a test I've been doing, and it's using the LED COB rope lights that Bamboo selling on the Maker supply side, and they also sell Perspex tubes. So I had this idea for this lamp that would have a COB LED effectively suspended through the middle of this fluted shade that was then inside of this Perspex pipe. And obviously if you saw the design on MakerWorld, you can then just be like, I can have it so the components are available to be added, so you can just buy them. I think it's pretty cool, but I need to do the bottom, and I need to figure out a way of integrating you can kind of see it here, like just this little control board and the wire, and then there's a little potentiometer. I'll have to find that actually, because I'll have to measure it to change the dim, so I'll actually have a dimmer on it as well. So we'll have a little look at that. I think the bottom is going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be at the top, but it'll be figuring out how we want to integrate the wiring and then have the potentiometer mounted in such a way that you're actually able to mess with it. So I'll load up that base design that I did. It'll be under lights, surprisingly, and then I think COB light it was. Yeah. So I've modelled in so I've kind of done a bottom. So the top, the COB LED actually just sits, the top of it sits in this little slot. Let me get 2 seconds, I'll just go find the light. Yeah, so you won't be able to see that well on the camera, but it's like actually I'll put it on the other thing with the full camera. You'll be able to see the absolute garbage. We need, essentially the bottom needs to be able to house, so the wire, the COB LED can come through the bottom because there was excess. And then what size did I do this at the top? Because this is actually perfect for gripping the LED strip. Just let me check what size I did, because then I can repeat that on the bottom for a channel. So 1.7 millimeters. So if we want, so is this the front? Yeah, this is the front. So I think what would be a good idea would just be to have like a pocket in the bottom where the excess COB will go. Because I think when I looked at it, there's about two centimeters or so, because the LED is actually 30 centimeters long, which is obviously taller than the print height of the printer. So this lamp isn't 30 centimeters tall. Thank you very much, Kivera. I think Kivera. I'm glad somebody likes them. Yeah, so there's a little bit of excess on the LED. On the, it's probably about, I'd say about that much excess. So I need to have somewhere that the excess sits in the base, and then also it'll house the little control board. And I think what I'll end up doing is I'll just also have to house a lot of this USB cable in the bottom as well. So it might be worth, first thing is building the section that the potentiometer will stick through, because then everything else can flow from that. So let me get my calipers out. My calipers, which they're a brilliant set of calipers that I don't know if any of you have got the same type of caliper where they're battery powered. Obviously, mains calipers would be, well, also, but you do get manual calipers, so it's not a ridiculous thing to say battery powered. They don't turn themselves off. So without fail, I use them, and then they don't get used for like 3 weeks. And I come back to them and I'm like, yeah, okay, they're flat, great. I wish they just had an auto turn off thing. And I actually think I've knackered them with a magnet. I think they use a magnet to read the, yeah, they have. I have knackered them. That's nowhere near. So I'll just use the manual reading. So it's 29. The potentiometer board is 29 mil thick at the square part, and then it's, say, 40. Yeah, let's do 29. Do 29, and then I can add the little, well, no, let's do 40 first, sorry. So we'll do a center rectangle here. Now what I'm thinking is we can just have the potentiometer on the back out of the way. So what did I say? I said 40, didn't I? 40. That's actually a bit wide than I was expecting. It doesn't matter. We don't really need the depth right now. So if we bring these points in. So I'm just, what I want is a flat surface that I can effectively have the potentiometer control on. So I might just actually bring it all the way up to here. Yeah. We can smooth out some of these curves later and things, but for now, I'm basically just looking for something that this can socket into. Don't base there, so I'd rather it stand proud than have that little edge. So how tall is this board? Welcome to my stream where I use calipers for 2 hours straight. But this is what designing does, especially, I've not actually designed for these boards before, so this is very new for me as well. So 15.5 is how tall they are. Yeah, so we're going to actually have to add some height on the base to just count for this. This is absolutely not the final design for the base, but if I can get the components in it and design for the components, then ultimately I can style it after that. So there's actually probably, I bet there's actually a CAD model for this. Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to have a little look for that. Let's have a little look on Chrome. Because Bamboo does provide CAD models for a lot of their things. I don't know whether they go down to that level of component, but we can have a look, can't we? What's it called? I'm just going to search Potentiometer. First time. Bang. 3D model. That's fantastic. That, you know, like they do not have to do that, but it just makes it so much easier for creators. God, I just called myself a creator. I actually felt my cringe response kick in there. Next thing I'll be saying I'm making content, which I know I am, but it feels just, I feel deeply uncomfortable using terms like that. It's like thinking of myself as a content creator. I've actually forgot what I was doing there. That in. Back to plasticity. And then let's import that part. Please don't have this file have 5,000 parts in it. That is one thing. They're very, very accurate, these step files that they give you, but it's not too bad. It's actually not the numbers of parts that annoy me, it's this. Look at that insane folder structure. Absolutely bonkers. And you can't... I was just going to say you can't select all, but you can. Well, my measurement mustn't have been right because I said it was 15 mil. .5. So what's that? It just turns out that I just didn't make the base tall enough. So my thoughts are that what we can just do here is take this. Let's bring it in like this. Essentially just cut out, have a cutout that it can press up into. No, I don't want to do that. I want this to be central. So let's just pick a reference point and then we can scale it. Three-point rectangle. I can count on one finger how many times I've used that tool. Not to say it's a bad tool, I've never actually found a use for it. So let me look at my board. Yeah, so all this stuff on the back is not relevant to my board. That must be if you've got... So it doesn't need... Oh, no, sorry. Misreading that. Yeah, we do need that. So we need to go all the way back. It's just that the pins don't stick out on mine, but there's no connector on this CAD file. So we do need it to go pretty deep. And then all I'll do is I'll just take this surface here, center it off, doesn't want to play. I'll need to be wider than this, but I just want to check I'm aligned properly. Yeah, cool. Then I can just pull these out. Yeah, we're going to make that thicker, aren't we? Now, what I'll do is I'll do the test print. There'll be, because this model is not actually exactly the same as what I've got here. There's connectors on the back that are different here. So I think what I'll do is when I do test print, I'll just see where we're interfacing and just change this slightly. But we definitely need to add a bit more space on the sides. What I could do is have holes through here for the screws, but then you'd be asking people to buy screws as well, and I don't know. I just think it's not necessary. You can press fit it into here and it'll be fine. Now let me think. So if I'm looking at this from the bottom, the connector is on the left hand side. So we would then need a chunk out of here. I think this is the connector here. Yeah, it is. So that's good. And actually, the connector doesn't stand proud of the bottom, so we could still just. But I will give it a little bit more room. Just think when the connector comes out, it's got to bend the cable. But the connector isn't actually right at the bottom of the board. It's slightly above it, so I think we'd be fine anyway, but it doesn't harm to give it a bit of extra. Right. So that's the connector that the LED actually connects into. So what we've effectively done there is made the start of a channel. Now, I think we probably don't need to go... We don't need to go too far, because once we've actually got out to that edge where the potentiometer is, we probably don't actually have that much left over spare. So it's a shame that I can't measure it in the clock, because I've not designed the clock there. I've not measured the lamp yet, so... Sorry, I've not designed the lamp yet. So let's just do this. And then let's bridge these two. Just gives us a nice smooth cable channel. Z-axis, let's pin it to the middle of here. And then turn on X-ray mode so I can actually see it. And then what I think I'd like to do here is just not do what I just did. Let's bring it down. I said 1.7, didn't I, before? So let's bring it down 1.7. Then on this surface on there, let's do a 1.7 by a 1.7. We don't need to be 1.7, do we? Up like this. Then let's select that and just sweep. F. Sweep. And then select this and this. Interesting. Join them. There we go. Turn off X-ray because my mind absolutely melts looking at all those lines. So then we can just do Q, this to this, Boolean that away. And then we've got this little channel. This channel that I know is a good thickness to hold the width of the rubber COB LED. I think, let me just measure what this thickness is here for this, the little control board. So that's 9.6. What are we on width here? I think what I'll end up doing here is the little control board that, oh, it's difficult when the camera's backwards, isn't it? This little control board here, I really need a second camera for this sort of stuff. We'll have to sit in this area here. So what width are we on here? We won't be at 9, that's for sure. No, we're not. That's fine. Let's just add in some ISO parameters, and then we can make this a bit wider here. This, you see. And then once we've done some test prints, I can effectively move this surface and these two surfaces to get a little pocket that'll fit the little 5. I think it's just a 5-volt. I think it's a converter. I think it is. I think it's just like a little like a little step-down converter. So yeah. So the LED. Top of the rope clicks in there, where you bring it all the way down. This hole's going to have to be bigger actually, isn't it? Because it's going to have to get that control board through. So you bring that into there, then the remainder of the COB LED runs into this channel, and then the control board goes here, and the potentiometer is here. No, I don't need this here. I've accidentally made a new face there. Just add some edges in here, and then I can bring that across. Now, as well as coming out there, there has to be the USB cable. Well, the little connector for the USB cable. And it's attached to the same... completely backwards. It's attached to the same part. So the potentiometer's got like 3 centimeters of wire, and then there's another wire that comes off 3 centimeters, which is where the USB clicks in. So it might be worth... just having another thing here with another pocket. Yeah, because when I say the USB cable will be outside of the body, but the little connector which connects the USB cable to the potentiometer and the LED will be under the body because it's a bit messy. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a little pocket in here and then just have another branch that comes off. So let me just measure So 6 mil wide. 6 mil wide by, so the whole thing with the connector and everything is 14. Just give it a little rotate. So just put a little pocket in here. Again, this will be like press fit tolerance, so we'll just be able to press the thing in and it should just hold. So just need to add another cable channel. But very small. It doesn't need to be curved either, does it? I'm just overcomplicating this. It can be just a straight one because there's no, I'm not trying to take up any slack in the cable. I will do it near to there. Why not just add a curve in, eh? Just for the fun of it. So, of course, now I've done that, I need to do another curve. I can't be dealing with that. Completely pointless, but it makes me feel better. So yeah, let's just do another one of those little sentinel. Your ex-girlfriend was an industrial design student. Well, she'll know more than me. I really, really enjoy designing products, and I have done product design for previous work as well. But 3D modeling design is for 3D printing. It's such a weird and unique thing because you've got all of the, well, I mean, I suppose every manufacturing method's got its own quirks, but thinking of overhangs all the time and things like that, it's so challenging. At one point we'll get, well, we kind of do already have them, but 3D printers that have no issue with overhangs and stuff like that, and you can just go, I mean, I don't know if you saw them, I think about a year ago now. It was those 3D printers that somebody developed that like printed it, was suspended in like a gel. It was like a nozzle that like then went and squirted like a setting resin into a gel. Because it was printed in a gel, it was completely, had no issue with overhangs. It was really, really impressive, but I don't think they're happening at home anytime soon. So we'll just take that away. And then we'll just add a little cut here for the actual USB cable to come out, which will be where you will then be able to plug in your power. Right. So that actually kind of works. I'm kind of digging this. Kind of digging this. Go that template. So I think the thing to do really is just do the base. If I just print the base out, I'll not bother with, I mean, there'll be things like, I think it would be good to have like a nice fillet like this on the base. Don't forget to save. I tell you what, That is a good point. Mind you, I don't know if you've used Plasticity. Its autosave engine is insane. Like, it's I don't know, in the background, it must just be saving constantly, because I've had on stream, I've had crashes, and as you've just seen, I forget to save. But like it just automatically has the file there when it loads up, so it must just do a constant. Actually, when you look in the Plasticity folder, let me go. Actually, let's have a little look while we're here. I'll just go to my 3D lights, COB lights. Let me just turn on the screen. You can't see that's off the screen because I'm on an ultra wide here, and then so it doesn't match the stream. So yeah, there's this Plasticity folder and everything. Yeah, look, and it seems to, yeah. So yeah, it's constantly saving. Say that it's not. So it saved it last at 3 minutes past 10. That was the last auto save. It's pretty cool. It's definitely saved my bacon a couple of times. So, yeah. So I think if I was to, I think a little fillet on here, but I'm not going to add this now because if I'm making change, I will need to make changes to this because I'm not convinced that the CAD file perfectly matches. Like there's little resistors and little like connectors on the back which have like been extruded off that obviously aren't on the 3D model of the potentiometer board. So I'll just do a little test print of this base, and if I can get things to fit in fine, then I'll start doing the sprucing. But I do think it'd be quite nice if we had like a little like a fillet on the bottom here, and I'm actually wondering if we could add a little like a little bit of ribbon to the base that is the same number of ribs as the float inside, which acts as the diffuser for the light. I think that could be pretty cool. I said I wasn't going to add the fillet, and I've added it because I've decided it's not a problem. The other thing is with Plasticity is great is you can just not do what I thought you could. Normally you can just press fillets and get rid of them. Oh, it's because there's right, yeah, it's because of this. Yeah, okay, it's because that's a little bit more complicated. Say for example, if we did a fillet here, you can just press delete on the fillet and it just goes back to the original geometry, which is kind of wild. But it's wild when you're used to parametric CAD. It's probably, you know, it's not that wild, but it's really, really helpful. And then again, I think the same up here would be good. Now, the other thing I really want to try and do with this lamp, and I'm not going to go down this route until I'm happy that the COB LED sits right, because to be able to test what I want to do, I really need the light in there to be able to test like transmission of the light through the diffuser. But I'd quite like to add in 2 little mini diffusers inside. So one at the bottom and one at the top that literally just sit in, and effectively it'll mean you'll get a 2-tone effect on the colour. Now it might be a bit much, and it probably will be a bit much, but I just want to have a little play with it. Actually, this is the second iteration of this funnel, this like diffuser. I had to add these ribs because it was a little bit thin and shaky. But I mean, as you can see from that thing on YouTube, that little short I did, it does look good, even though that was just, you know, literally me testing the top and the flume. I keep calling it flume, but I mean the diffuser. Yeah, so do I want to do any more on this now? I don't think I do, because I think ultimately I need to test bit things. I think this will be fine. What I definitely will do, because I'll forget to do this later, is add fillets here. Just to get rid of the sharp edge when that comes around. I could, if I can get this alignment right, I could probably just put little tabs here that then have little, like, I'm going to say nipples. Little nipples that like then click into here which might be better than the press fit. Yeah, we'll see. But that's stuff to do when I'm testing it. So how long have I been going? An hour and wow, I've only been going an hour and 16 minutes. I thought I've been going ages. I think the other idea I've had for lamp / vase / something, I'll have a little look at it now because we've got plenty of time. I haven't got a sketch of it. I normally have sketches when I do an idea, but this one just popped into my head about 20 minutes before I came on stream, and it's really simple, so it'll not take 5 minutes to design. But I just thought I want to try something just to see if it works the way I think it will in my head. So let's just do 180mm tall line, just so I've got scale for the A1 Mini. And I'm going to do a little weirdness with this, so I'm just going to bring it down in the middle. So this is going to be a rectangular, I'm going to call it an Inception vase, just because all I can think of is the world in Inception doing the like twisty, spirally thing. It's not, but I can't think how to describe it. So I'm going to do like a rectangle, and let's make the rectangle 10 mil across for now. And then let's just go 180. Total. And let's bring this out 5, yeah. So effectively what I want to do is use the rectangular array tool. So what should we say? Should we say the vase depth would be 90? I'm going to use the rectangular array tool. I think it's the rectangular array tool I'm thinking of. No, it's the curve array tool. I was thinking it wasn't curved because this isn't a curve, but I mean it is a curve. So F curve array. So if we want it to be set by distance. Did I say there were 10? Yeah, all right, yeah, but we need to do we need to do? That makes no sense to me why that's doing that. Why is oh, it's the full extent. Sorry, right. Right, that makes sense. Now, bear with me while I'm figuring this out, because I'm thinking I need these to touch because they're going to all get Booleaned in. Let's just do 20 and then it's a round number. So in 5 minutes when I forget how many I did, you can say you did 20. And then twist. Now this is what I want. So I'm going to make these instances just for now. 45? Yeah. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing I'm looking for. Now it doesn't look like a very useful vase at the moment. Do you think I want 45? But I don't like how many there is. Yeah, I prefer it being a little bit more stepped, which means we'll have to do this. But because I made them instances, look at this, man. How cool is this? I love the new instances tool in this. So then let's make this much taller so we get a lot more. I'm going to stop on quiet because my brain's firing up. So, what do I think of this? I think maybe it need to be wider. Problem is, the wider you make it, the more aggressive this angle gets, and at a point it becomes untenable. So what angle is that? Okay, it's still all right. Yeah, but I want this back on the center. Right. So my idea of this vase is this weird, like, twisted stagger type thing, which I'm wondering whether 45 degrees was too much now, but let's just make a duplicate of this and put it over here just so I can come back again if I need to. Let's select all these instances and realize them, which just makes them into solids. And let's join all these. No, my thought was we cut. I think the 45 degrees might have been too much. I don't know. And then rotate it again. So it's maybe around there. Yeah, this was the kind of thing I was after. So it's kind of weird, but like I kind of like it. Like front on, then you're getting all this like staggered detail. Now, do I want it wider? I think I might want it wider. You know, I shouldn't have realised those. Well, actually, I had to realise the instances to do the cutting. So it might actually not be I want it wider. It might be I didn't need all of the. Yeah, that's better. I like that because I like that it's not the twist doesn't feel like it's perfectly in the center anymore because it isn't because I've offset it. So let's just hit a copy of this. Just save it, and I'm just wondering if I delete this face, select these two faces and loft. Now we'll get a nice, yeah. See, now we're getting a nice curve. It's like a soft front and then this like staggered side. Do the same on the back, eh? Yeah. Strange, I wouldn't have expected that to be problematic. When the patch tool doesn't work, the loft tool works. There we go, cool. I'm just using G0 tangency because I don't need, well, I have to use G0 tangency here, but it just means the edges are sharp effectively. So yes, that's now a solid, and I like it. What do we think? Do I want to put edges in? I think I do. I think I quite like it being sharp. Will the hollow command work? I ask myself this question every goddamn day. -2. It worked. Brilliant. Let's try -3 just to give us a bit of a thicker wall. Excellent. Vases. So, I think that's quite a fun vase. I wonder if we do some weird mirroring on it as well. Take a copy again. This is the thing with not having a parametric timeline. It's like very often it's just if you subscribe to my Patreon and you have access to the Plasticity files, you'll quite often find just off to the left this like the physical history of the file. See, this stuff always gets me. I mean, like such a simple mirror like that, and that's just a really cool shape. And then just take a copy of that. Yeah, I love designing like geometric stuff that then kind of ends up you get loads of different forms out there. Now I won't release each of these, but I just think, like, let's just rotate this on the Z. Like, this thing's a vase. That's like kind of cool. Like, the not dealing with a parametric timeline career, that was my problem. Was a Fusion on-shape guy. And I'd say the first 6 months of me using Plasticity, it was absolutely torturous. And now I use it all the time. I understand what the freedom that not having the parametric timeline gives me. And I understand what the problems of not having the parametric timeline is. So say if I was to design, something like functional, I don't know, like a hinge for my gate outside or something, you could absolutely do that in this. But being able to set variables and like, actually a great example is have a laptop stand on MakerWorld. It's a dual laptop stand, and it was designed in Onshape, and it's great because ultimately you can just have a variable that sets the diameters, the width, of the two, thickness, of the two laptops that you want to put in it. And obviously you just change 2 parameters and then the whole model's redone. If I was to do that in this, the way I would do that is I would design the model and then I would slice the model and then have to physically move the arms in and out based on how wide I wanted the laptop to be if I was making different versions. So there's definitely a limitation, but for stuff, not even necessarily stuff like this, I've done some like modeling like for mechs and things like that. Just incredible how quick it is in Plasticity, because you're not having to do sketches in the same way and stuff like that. But they both completely got their place. And I wholeheartedly know what you mean about struggling without a plastic. It depends on, is it worth it? It depends on what you want to do. What I would say is it's got a free trial. Try it. I now never use Onshape or Fusion because I just find Plasticity so immediate. And so, and another thing I'd say is I've always struggled with surface modeling in Fusion and Onshape, and because I always felt like surface modeling was not a second class citizen in those. It was just another tier above, and I never got to using that. And ultimately, once you start using those tools, you kind of break your parametric timeline in some ways anyway. So yeah, once I started doing a lot more stuff with 3D printing and a lot more organic modeling and stuff, for surface modeling, I would absolutely 100% say it's worth switching over. But if what you design is more functional stuff, like say, for example, when I was just designing that lamp before, and obviously I'm talking about, oh, the potentiometer board needs to fit in here, there, and everywhere. Well, obviously in Fusion, you would sketch it out, you would set those dimensions, you would then maybe set those dimensions as variables. And then when I'm talking about, oh, I'll have to come back and change the fit, I'm going to have to physically go and pull those faces and move those faces, which thankfully Plasticity makes incredibly easy. But again, in Fusion, you would just go, all right, add an extra millimeter to that parameter. So they've all got their benefits. They've all got different things that they're good at. I find Plasticity ultimately for surface modeling and for rapid iteration, I think it's the best there is. For very technical, heavy stuff that you know you're going to want lots of dimension sketches, I think Onshape's probably, or Fusion, probably better, but each their own. I spent 18 months learning Plasticity and I still don't know how to use it. So I do know how to use it, but it's the thing with Plasticity, it's getting updated all the time. I mean, I'm not on the newest version. Yeah, just give it a go. When you get a chance, get the demo. I think the demo was for a month. That's what I did. And then by the end of the month, I was like, I think I want this. But yeah, I mean, I'm not even on the latest version. I'm 2 versions behind. And they've added loads of new stuff again. If you want to actually get into Plasticity, there's a YouTube channel I recommend called Take Refuge 3D, or Refuge 3D, I think it is. And he's really good. It's not like it's necessarily that it's tutorials, but what you do get with him is he goes through a lot of the tools. I learned plasticity kind of what I'm doing here now, which is just watching people doing what I'm doing now, because you start to understand what the tools do and then you fill in the gaps yourself. But yeah, take refuge 3D. He's pretty good for as I said, it's not so much tutorials, but it's like getting a grips with what can plasticity do and what do the tools offer. Yeah, so I'd give him a look. So let's just do one last variation of this. Take Refuge 3D, that's them, yeah. He does really good videos when there's updates as well, like I actually always find out that Plasticity's had an update and what's in the update from him rather than Plasticity. Let's just do one last thing here. Just want to try a mirrored one that uses the center point here as a mirror point. Let's just actually set this as the anchor point. Z up to here, and then we just mirror this like this. It's a bit much. Yeah, that's not very balanced. But I think if I join these together, will this become a solid? Or will it have a cavity inside? Yeah, it's still got the cavity. I think ideally what I'd like, I'm not going to do this now because this is probably actually bigger than I think it's going to be, but is more that kind of aspect. But I don't actually think it's worth it. I'm not big of a fan of that. I think my favourite here is just the simple one that I had in my mind when I started, which was this one. So I think I'll test that one. Not so sure. This one I quite like when it's like displayed on an angle. Not so sure on that one, but this one I like. So before I go, I'll just do my normal little ad. This is me on MakerWorld, Abstractia-Design. It is now, I haven't done today's model yet, so there'll be another one coming up today. I need to figure out which one I'm doing. This is me, 664 models, do a model a day, Monday to Friday. If you join the commercial membership either on MakerWorld or via Patreon, Patreon's my preferred method. It's better for me, but each their own. You can subscribe whichever way you want. I just appreciate support, full stop. And essentially, if you subscribe to Patreons, you get access to commercial licensing for the 3D prints. So if you wanted to sell 3D printed versions of these products in your Etsy or your Shopify store, can do. The top tier also gives you allowance to use my images. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for if you want to be setting up your own 3D printing store. There is a tier there that's just like, I think it's £5 a month or something, that's just like a support tier. And there is also a tier that just allows you to use one model rather than all 664. If there's just one model you like and you just want to test the waters, there's that as well. But yeah, so if you like the work and you like the models and you want to support it, there's multiple options there. Alternatively, you can just get downloading on MakerWorld, which obviously helps me out. You can subscribe, comment, follow on YouTube. That helps me out. You can give me the boosts on MakerWorld. That helps me out. Anything really, any sort of engagement. But if you want to sell the models, subscribe via the commercial licensing program, because MakerWorld does scan platforms and keep a database of my subscribers who have commercial licenses. And if there's no record of the store, then takedowns get issued and it gets stores taken down every week, because you have to protect people who are actually paying you for your licenses. But it's a massive waste of my time. And I'd much rather be sitting here designing things on YouTube for you all and showing off the kind of work we can do than sending emails to Temu and various other platforms to get stuff taken down. Because you do always get them taken down, but it just takes time. So please subscribe if you'd like to sell stuff. It's not a lot of money per month for a lot of work. As I say, this is 664 models. 5 days, 5 more models a week minimum. Sometimes I get a little bit excited and do more than 5 in a week, but definitely 5 a week. So, you know, it's an insane amount of models that get put out, and they're all really good, in my opinion. People seem to enjoy them. So yeah, so that's my little demo. I hope you enjoyed the models we designed today. My designs have criminally low downloads. Well, the thing with the looking like they've got criminally low downloads is when you add lots and lots and lots over time, I'm pretty sure what happens is MakerWorld doesn't feature you as much. I think it's the thing of they obviously, when you have so many slots to feature people, and if you've got 5 models a week going in, I think it's probably that sometimes your models don't get and I don't mean featured as in like the active MakerWorld have actively featured this model. I mean sitting in that slot at the top of the search when you're an exclusive model. Yeah, that's exactly it. So I think it's like in some ways I'd maybe be better off doing less designs if I was going to get more. I mean, ultimately, when you go back, I do end up with lots of downloads. It just seems to take a long time for them to get to a lot of downloads. So you can have something that'd sit with 2 downloads for a week, but then it jumps up and it jumps up and it jumps up. I mean, some of my models have got, you know, I mean, some of them have got crazy numbers of downloads, like. Yeah, I mean, this one's got 1,500 and stuff, but there's people with much, much more than that. There's some accounts that I look at, I don't know how you do it. Like, I'm not saying the designs aren't good, the designs are good, but you're looking like every one of them has got like thousands. And I'm like, yeah, it does sometimes happen. You do sometimes get designs that like, I wouldn't say like viral, but like, as I say, you'll have 10 downloads and then over 2 days, you'll end up with 150. But yeah, I do think the issue is ultimately by doing a design a day, 5 days a week, they don't give you the slots that you always get. But that's fine because it's not my own. My important side of it is the support from Patreons and commercial subscribers. The money that you get through MakerWorld is of a massive help, and I would struggle without it. But the main thing is putting out a product that subscribers are happy with. So yeah, and then the other thing as well is ultimately I'll put everything on the exclusive scheme on MakerWorld because obviously it's better financially. But if the point came where that started to tip, then I would have my models elsewhere as well. And then I think in some ways it's a calculation I've been doing for ages. It might well be worth my time not being exclusive and banking on multiple platforms for a significant boost in views that then leads to more Patreon subscribers and stuff. But that's the business side, and it's one of them ones where it's all right at the moment, so I don't want to do any massive tweaks. But yeah, sometimes I do feel like they could get more downloads. Sometimes I feel like I've got loads of downloads. So ultimately, all I care about is how many Patreon and commercial subscribers do I have, and how many MakerWorld points do I get at the end of a month. So end of a week. So yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be me for today. I started early today, but an hour and 40 is all right. I think I'll do another 2 streams this week. It's only Tuesday. I'll probably be Thursday and Friday, I think, actually. It'll probably be. I don't think I'll do tomorrow. But as always, like and subscribe. If we can get ourselves to that 400 number on YouTube, that really helps out. And I actually uploaded a video yesterday, not just a stream, as an actual video of it's only 7 minutes. It's a really rapid design for a vase, so go check that out and give it a like as well. So have a tremendous day, and I will leave you with the same message I always leave you with, which is just have fun, and I'll see you next time.